Welcome back to HQ Spotlight. The sports world continues to react to the news of Bill Belichick not a first ballot Hall of Famer. He did not get the necessary 40 of 50 votes. Despite the accolades you see on your screen, some folks pointing towards a potential punishment for the various scandals during his time, others calling it a flawed and outdated voting system. Either way, that Bill Belichick, with all of those statistics you see, will have to wait at least one more year before he is considered a Hall of Famer. Time to put a spotlight on our executive's perspective as we welcome in our CEO, Amy Trask, to the program. Amy, as the weekend has gone on, as the week has gone on, we have heard a lot of passionate people sharing their thoughts on Bill Belichick and whether or not he should be even in this position. But now that the dust has kind of settled a bit here, how are you feeling about him not being a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Well, Bill deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He will be in the Hall of Fame. Do I think he should have gone in on the first ballot? I do. I think he's the best NFL coach of all time, and I am confident that he will ultimately get in. Now, as you noted, and I'll use a word you didn't use, there was a lot of hullabaloo when it was revealed that he is not going in on the first ballot. And clearly the Hall of Fame felt it was important to put out a statement. The Hall of Fame put out a very strong statement addressing some issues in the process and confidentiality and things of that nature. What I found very interesting and what I liked were that a number of the voters also spoke to the process, whether they spoke to what they did or what the process is in general. They clearly felt a need or had a desire to be more transparent. And I think transparency is important. I think as a general rule, transparency can lead to very good things. So do I think Bill will ultimately go in? Of course I do. Do I think he should have gone in on the first ballot? I do. But you know what, Haley? There are a number of people well deserving of the Hall of Fame that did not go in on the first ballot.
Yeah, and the thing that we have to continue to mention here, I know it felt like hullabaloo, that's a perfect way to put it, but there is potential for him to be in the Hall of Fame, which you mentioned is more than likely to happen next year. You also mentioned, though, the Pro Football Hall of Fame's reaction to this. They did put out a statement saying that if they found voters, quote, violated the selection process bylaws, actions would be taken. That includes being removed from the selection committee. Our NFL insider Jonathan Jones sharing this on Twitter as well, saying because the Hall doesn't say what bylaws may have been violated, we are left to assume this is about voters sharing their votes publicly or perhaps spilling what was said during the process or something else. Who knows? And Amy, that's kind of the thing here, right? We're expecting voters to come out and say whether or not they voted for Bill Belichick. Some people want to, some people don't. Some people are pointing to the Hall of Fame itself to make changes. Either way here, it sounds like this is a serious situation that's going to be talked about going forward.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. It's a serious situation that will be discussed for many reasons. I was taken aback by the Hall of Fame's statement, not that it made that statement. I think the statement may well have been perfectly appropriate, but that they made it publicly. If there was a violation or a potential violation of bylaws, and again, I speak from a legal background, that's normally the type of thing you take care of quietly and privately. But clearly the Hall of Fame believes in its bylaws and expects those who are members of the voting group to adhere to those and to follow those bylaws. So maybe it is time to take a look at the bylaws.
Certainly could use some updating there. Either way, we will continue to wait for Bill Belichick to get that official qualifier, Hall of Fame head coach. Elsewhere, another stunning move, maybe not as stunning as Bill, but the Buffalo Bills fired Sean McDermott in favor of their OC, Joe Brady. He was introduced as Buffalo's next head coach earlier this week with a very important detail about how they're going to coach this Buffalo Bills team. Amy, I want to listen and we'll react on the other side.
Every decision this organization makes, it's with the thought of Josh Allen and the players in mind, right? I'd be crazy not to. I was a part of incredible organizations in New Orleans with surrounding around Drew Brees, and there wasn't a decision that was made without Drew Brees being thought about, talked about, and making sure you understood it. Doesn't mean it was always the decision, but it was important that he was involved in it because he is the leader of this organization, and the weight that he has on his shoulders is something that I can't even imagine. Everything I think about is trying to find ways to put him in a position to have success because that's all I care about with him. Josh Allen is the best player in the NFL, and I have to grow, right? And part of me growing is that's going to allow him to be a better version of himself. And I'm so excited to be able to continue this journey with him. I have so much love for that man right there, and all I want is him to get everything that he deserves, and that's all I do for.
So, Amy, this is obviously an emotional promotion for Joe Brady. One thing that I wrote down, he said, quote, "I have to grow." And we know what Josh Allen is capable of doing as a quarterback for Buffalo. How or why is Joe Brady the guy to help Josh get to the top of the mountain?
Well, the same words that caught your attention caught my attention, Haley. And good for anyone who acknowledges that they have to grow on the job. I grew on the job. I grew up on the job. I think it's terrific when people come in and realize that they have to grow. That said, may we all work with people who love us as much as Joe loves Josh. And I say that rather, flippantly, but I really mean it sincerely. There's quite a bond there. Now, that said, notwithstanding that they've grown together when Joe was offensive coordinator and Josh the quarterback, when Joe was, even before that, the quarterback coach, when Josh was the quarterback, that growth, that relationship is going to help them go forward. But now that he is the head coach, he is not going to be singularly focused on the quarterback position, singularly focused on Josh. And guess what? As he acknowledged in his statement, he may not always be able to do that which Josh wants, but he's going to elicit Josh's input. He's going to listen to Josh, and he's going to do all he can to best position Josh to be his best.
And it helps having that familiarity as well. You already are one step forward, whereas you're bringing in a new face and having to establish that chemistry. They already have that. So we'll see how things work out for Joe and Josh. Elsewhere, the Raiders, one of two teams still searching for a head coach. Amy, any closer in Las Vegas to closing in on a target here for head coach?
Well, as you just pointed out, and then there were two. There were 10 teams searching for head coaches. 2 teams remain in that search process, Arizona and Las Vegas. They're the last of the teams, and it's possible that they're going to be in a competition to see who can lure and who can hire Clint Kubiak. Both teams are interviewing him on Saturday. And if both teams want him, as it appears they may, then he has leverage and he has a decision to make. Does he lean towards Michael Bidwell and Monte Ossenfort in Arizona? Does he lean towards Mark Davis and Tom Brady and John Spytek in Las Vegas? I would expect that he's considering ownership and management, and not simply the people in ownership and management, but what the structure of ownership and management is, such that it will impact his role in a manner he wishes for it to impact his role. When he is determining where he will be more comfortable, he'll make a decision if he has both opportunities. I shared this on social media earlier. It's like you're going to if he is given an offer by both teams, it's like you're invited to the prom by 2 people, and he will have to decide which one of those 2 teams he wants to dance with at the prom. And Haley, I shared this as well. We can go into it another time. I didn't go to the prom. Now, that aside, when he makes this decision, assuming he has both options, we'll see what he does. If I was advising him, and I'm not, I would remind him that Nevada has no state income tax.
That is very true, and that is always a conversation when these guys are looking to make a decision on their future. Amy, before I let you go, it makes my heart sad that you never went to a prom. I feel like we need to throw you a prom. But staying with the Raiders, obviously a team you know very well. It seems like something is missing, right? And I know that the winning helps and establishing a culture helps, but other than winning, what can you do to get this Raiders team kind of back on track? It just seems like something has been missing with that organization, really since the move, maybe even before that.
Well, I will quote Al Davis and follow up on what you're saying by saying, just win, baby. But beyond that, there is more, and I've had the wonderful opportunity to share some of these thoughts on HQ previously. The fans of that team are magnificent. Fans of all teams are special, but I, of course, have a very special place in my heart for Raider fans. I always will. When the team chose to move to Las Vegas, I noted at the time, you're going to have a lot of fans there from the visiting team. Because if you are a fan of the team playing the Raiders and you can only go on one road trip, well, we all saw Vegas Vacation, right? Viva Las Vegas. So the Raiders should do all they can to take care of their fan base, to cherish them, to make it beneficial for them to come to the games. I could give you a list of things they can do for their fans. I'm not going to give you that list now. But when you arrange that prom for me so I actually can go to a prom, I'll give you the list then.
I love that. Let's get it going. An HQ Spotlight prom with Amy Trask front and center, our prom queen, if you will. Amy, so good to see you.
What if I don't get invited?
I'm inviting you. I'm personally inviting you to our HQ Spotlight prom. Perfect. Amy, so good to see you every Friday here on CBS Sports Network, bringing us the latest from the executive's perspective. Plenty more conversations to be had over on CBS Sports HQ. Hit that QR code on your screen to get locked in for free streaming 24/7.